Hello, hello, and welcome back to another session of my Amazon seller journey series. Today, I'm really excited to present to you FBA mogul himself, Simon. Simon, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Can't complain. Just very busy.
Yeah.
With Amazon, always keeping me busy, but lots of money to be made. So yeah, but I'm great. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome to hear.
Glad to be here.
I mean, I'm really happy to have you on as well because I know that like you do other interviews as well. Like this isn't your first rodeo when it comes to interviews.
Sure.
Are the interviews that you have on your channel, are they things that you host or are you a guest on other shows as well?
Yeah, so I host my own one where if I see someone doing well on Amazon, I'll just say to them, "Do you fancy coming on the podcast?" Some people are very private and don't want to advertise what they're doing or even show their faces, but other people are more than happy to share their story. So I do that. I'm also a guest on other podcasts as well. So I'm a big fan of these podcasts. I think they're great. People can get loads of information, but they can also listen to them, without having to actually watch them when
Yeah.
they're prepping and stuff like that, when they're doing some boring task with Amazon or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're working, do you have stuff on in the background as well?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I binge so much YouTube. So I watch it, I listen to it. Yeah. If it's something like this, I'll listen to it in the background while I'm prepping or doing something, mundane and boring, just to try and soak up some knowledge, I guess, or just entertain myself. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm very much the same. Like, I think
yeah,
Spotify's tired of me at this point, to be honest.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so obviously, this is all about getting to know you, what you're all about, and your Amazon journey. So, I'd just like to know, and everyone else out there would like to know as well. Um, how did you come across Amazon? Like, what were the starting steps for you? What were you doing before? What triggered the change? How did you like actually go about getting into it?
sure, yeah. So it all came about from I was back doing reselling of PlayStation 5s, Xboxes, and stuff like that. Did fairly well from those, and I was in a Discord community around that. And then as that kind of died off, people started getting into other opportunities, like NFTs, things like that. But some people got into Amazon, and I was very reluctant to get into Amazon because I didn't want to be beholden to Amazon. I was always worried that Amazon. I heard the horror stories that Amazon can just shut down your account and then you're doomed basically.
Mhm.
Um, excuse me. So I didn't want to get into it really, but then I started seeing results people were posting. I was like, oh, I can't see people making 5, 10 grand a month or even 2 grand a month from Amazon. I'm like, oh, this looks like such a good opportunity. So eventually I kind of got into it. But I was working full time as a software engineer. I worked from home during the COVID period. And then my boss wanted me to go back to the office. And I was like, I don't want to go back. And we couldn't negotiate it. So we kind of ended, I quit the job. And then I was twiddling my thumbs for a few months. And I was like, you know what? I'll give this Amazon thing a go. Just try and make a couple of grand a month. And then it just sucked me in, basically. Now my entire life is based around Amazon. So, yeah. So that's how I got started, basically. It was about 2 years ago. So, yeah.
And of like obviously we all know that there's a range of different methods for, sourcing and such retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale. Like what
Yeah.
methods have you tried? Have you tried multiple? Have you always stuck with the same one? Like what have you tried?
Yeah, so I originally started doing Amazon to Amazon. That was the first thing I got into. I was in a group that did lots of Amazon to Amazon deals, and I happened to just join when the Prime Day was on. So within my first sort of few months, I'd spent like 20, 30 grand on stock, which it all arrived to my apartment. And then I couldn't sell half of it because I was a brand new seller and I was gated on loads of the brands. But that's how I started out. And that Amazon to Amazon was really good when I first started out. Then it kind of died off a little bit. And it's one of these things that goes up and down, basically. So then, essentially that's online arbitrage. So then I started doing more online arbitrage. I did some retail arbitrage as well, going into stores and stuff, but that's not really my favorite kind of method to do, really. Nothing more discouraging than going around all the stores and finding no stock. But yeah, online arbitrage is where my main focus, basically. So that's what I pretty much do most of the time.
And when it came to like the learning process of how to do all this stuff, like
Yeah.
Um, how was it for you? Like, what did you do to learn? Like, did you already have like a good like knowledge of it anyway, and so it just took like a couple of little things to like learn the rest, or did you like try a course? Did you look around? Like, was it a case of acquiring as many help like free help resources that you could from the internet? Like, what was your like steps with learning?
Yeah, so being in a Discord group was a huge thing because you can ask people questions. That was a really important thing. I also watched loads of YouTube videos, just listening to people's stories, how they got started, just like with these videos.
Yeah.
Just picking up as many tips as possible. And then the other way to learn is just by doing, basically buying some leads, not going too crazy, and seeing how they go, and then learning from your mistakes. And I've made plenty of mistakes, people would always do, and learning from your failures and successes, and just doing that basically. But yeah, getting into community, asking questions to people who are happy to help out, watching YouTube, and there are courses available online. I've never bought one for Amazon. Didn't feel the need really because all the information's out there for free. But I guess you want a more condensed, maybe in an ordered fashion, then maybe a course might be the way to go. But I've got none I can recommend. So, but yeah, just talking to people basically, that's the main thing, and just yeah, working with other people.
From the sounds of it, that community kind of thing that you have going on, that seems like quite a big thing for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Yeah. So Discord's a huge thing. I got introduced to Discord through the reselling thing. As I'm sure many people have heard of the CCN group. That's got me into reselling on Amazon online. Every time I'd done reselling in the past, I just found things myself, didn't know about these communities, this like Discord thing, never heard of it. But now everything seems to be related, to Discord with Amazon and stuff like that. So there are Facebook groups out there and things like that, WhatsApp groups, but for me, Discord's the best platform. And yeah, just finding like-minded people who are happy to help. It's a very secretive community, which I think is silly because Amazon's such a huge opportunity that there's enough room for everyone, as far as I'm concerned, to make lots of money. But yeah, but you just got to find some people that are like-minded like you who want to help out. Someone who's maybe a little bit better than you, who's willing to share some knowledge.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can just find people. Yeah, but community is a very important thing. Absolutely.
And you mentioned that, there's been a few mistakes that you've made like along the way. And so I'm sure like anyone watching would be curious as to, any sort of examples of, I don't know, maybe like recent mistakes or anything like particularly notable that like stands out, like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that, and like this is what I did to, get past it. Like, do you have any examples of any sort of like mistakes and how you overcame how you overcame?
Yeah. So the main thing is just being able to read the keeper charts. That's a very important skill to learn when it comes to Amazon selling. So I bought an Amazon to Amazon deal. It was a Triton shower holder. I spent about £1,000 on the stock, but didn't at the time. I was very new to Amazon, so I didn't really understand the price history. It's very important to look at the price history of these products. And I bought it at a very high price, and then I was never able to actually sell it for any money. Also turns out Amazon sent me the wrong one. So every time I did sell one, I was getting returns back. So in the end of the day, I just had to throw the whole lot down the tip, basically. Couldn't give them away, basically. So yeah, just losing money on that one. So just, yeah, my biggest mistakes are from not reading the keeper charts, basically. Or other mistakes are I found a great purchase, but didn't have the balls to basically go ahead and buy lots. Bought maybe 10 and then sold them really quickly, go back to order more, and then there's none left. So but at the same time, you don't want to go too deep when you're new. You don't want to, because obviously the deeper you go, if it's a mistake, then the bigger the cost. So it's one of those things you learn as you go. Basically, you become more confident with your reading the keeper charts, understanding the products, and then you can make more money from them by going deeper on them and not worry too much about them tanking or you losing money.
And for
So
anyone that's like looking to get started with selling on Amazon and stuff, like what would you say are a couple of sort of like good guidelines to like keep in mind like as you're getting started in terms of things like, what's a good starting budget? I know that that can vary and people will say different things, but what would you say is a good starting budget? Like in terms of like making quantity decisions when you are starting out, like what would you say? Like if they did find a good product, like uh, in a store or like I know from a retailer online or something, what would you say is like a good kind of like quantity decision to make? Like just a few sort of like guidelines that one should follow to ensure like a good start.
sure, yeah. So, I mean, the absolute minimum I'd say is £1,000 realistically. You can, and this is not financial advice, you can try and supplement this a little bit with credit cards just to maybe give that little, don't overspend, but if you've got £1,000 in the bank, maybe you can spend 500 on the credit card, just gives you a little bit like £1,500 just to play with and make sure you pay it off. But yeah, ideally, the more the better, basically. I'm not going to lie, I started off with a lot of money. I put 30K straight into it. So that certainly helped me. I'm not one of these guys that claims that I started with £1 and turned it to 100K in like a month. Yeah, you can see these people, it's just crazy. I started off with a lot of money, but yeah, you can start off with £1,000. You have to be really, I think with £1,000, which is probably a lot of people, the best thing, I made a whole video around this, is just basically doing retail arbitrage. and doing FBM, I think is the best thing. Because the main thing you want to do with £1,000 is get the stock quickly, get it sold quickly, get the money back quickly, and reinvest it. And just, I think one of the biggest things with Amazon is being patient. We all want to get to those big numbers, but it takes a while to build up the capital. So just be patient and just go through the process and try and make good decisions and just, yeah, be patient, I guess, is the biggest thing. But yeah, £1,000, but the more the merrier, basically.
Yeah.
And then, you start off with £1,000, and once you realize that this is actually a real thing and you can actually make money from it, then you can put more money in. That's a pretty standard thing, isn't it? Everyone's quite cautious when they start off, and then they, can put more money in. So that's the best advice I can give people. And then just try and find a Discord community. I've got a free one. There's other ones out there as well you can pay for. And just, yeah, ask questions, I guess. And but yeah, retail arbitrage is a good one as well to
Yeah.
start with.
Do you have any advice for like anyone that say they've gotten started with Amazon, but they're doing it on the side of like a 9 to 5, something like that. So it's a side hustle for them, but
Yeah.
they're looking to turn that into a full time. Like, what would you say are some key things to
Mm.
do or bear in mind in order to, make that a reality?
Yeah, so be consistent. So if you're working a 9 to 5 job, you need to allocate maybe an hour or two a day, every day, at the same time, doing sourcing, whether
Mhm.
that's going to your local Tesco's or Asda or Sainsbury's to do sourcing or doing online sourcing for OA. You've got to be consistent. You've got to get good at sourcing. I mean, it all comes down to that you've got to buy the products. That's what it comes down to. If you can't source, you're screwed basically. But you've got to learn it. It's a skill that you can learn. So you just got to do that consistently, and it's hard to begin with, but then the more you do it, like with anything in life, the better you get. So don't get discouraged. It certainly helps by being in a Discord group because maybe someone can say, "Hey, I got a great deal at Asda," and then you can go down to your Asda. People are more willing to share retail arbitrage deals because they're not going to do the whole country. Although some people do, but generally, if they find one in their local store, then they're not going to venture around everywhere, so they'll be more willing to share it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's probably the best advice I could give, really. Just being consistent and yeah, just learning, constantly learning as well. It's a good lesson for life, I suppose. Always be learning.
And you meant so when you said on the side of your job, dedicate like 1 to 2 hours, doing some sourcing, and obviously, carrying on with that. Hopefully, with amongst everything else, everything clicks into place. They get a full time, so like rolling it. For you, like, um, Amazon being like a full time gig for you. Obviously you are responsible for yourself and like the money that you make.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like allocating time to certain tasks and stuff, um, like did you find that difficult to start with? Like in terms of allocating time and such, like how is it that you do it? Like, do you just know in your head, like, oh, I need to do this, and this today? Do you have like a timetable that you write out? Like how did you do it and how do you do it now?
Yeah, I'm basically the classic example of not how to do it because I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think setting a timetable is a good thing to do. I do write task lists, like I've got one set here, what I need to do for today. So certain it's admin tasks. That's another big thing as well, is staying on top of your admin with that FBA. Admin's a huge part of it. But yeah, basically, I'm not that organized really. One of the beautiful things of working for yourself is you can kind of do it however you want. So you don't
Yeah.
have to be regimented, but the best way probably is to have a schedule, and then that's probably the most efficient way to do it. But that's not what I do right now. I wish I did. That's just not my personality. So, but yeah, if you can be regimented and set out a schedule, know exactly what you're doing. You do the sourcing every day at the same time. Do your admin every day at the same time. You're prepping or whatever. Allocate all those tasks, and you'll figure it out as you go. Basically, I think that's the main thing. So.
And in terms of like prepping and stuff, do you do all of that yourself or do you use a prep center?
Yeah, so I've been on and off prep centers. I was using a prep center in the past. Then it was quite expensive. And when I had 1 or 2 bad months and all my money went into prep centers and VAs, I brought it back in-house, got my business back on track again. And
Yeah.
now I've gone back to prep center again because I'm sick of prepping, to be honest. So I use Skewific now. No, yeah, Skewific, yeah.
Yeah.
Skewific? Yeah, that's it, yeah. So
Yeah.
to do my prepping now. So yeah, it's a game changer really. So what if you can outsource your prep because it's tempting to keep it in house, but then if you're spending 2 3 hours a day, and it's fine to do this at the beginning. I think I'm a big advocate of you doing it yourself at first, Then once you know how to do it, you can then pass it on to someone else. But yeah, if you're spending 2, 3 hours a night prepping, you got to think, well, am I better off spending that time sourcing and letting someone else do the prep for me? Because you could make way more money that way. But sometimes it's hard to let go of that. But yeah, now I am pretty much full-time prep center. Yeah.
And so like all these other things like prep centers, VAs, like softwares and stuff that help automate like functions in your business and just like make life easier. Like what would you like how would you rank them in like order of priority, like softwares, prep centers, VAs, and anything else that you want to throw in there? Like if
Sure.
someone's looking to get these extra things to make life easier, which one should they go for first? Like do you have like a particular order that you think it should go in?
Yeah, so from software point of view, I guess the main software you're going to need is Skillify and BuyBotPro because you need to know A, that you're making money on a deal by analyzing it in the first place, but then also seeing how your business is doing in an overall capacity. So you can't just get, and I actually know there's one big seller I knew who's doing 6 figures actually. He doesn't use any of these softwares. He's just using the Amazon, like orange bars and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if you're actually making money or not. From orange bars, I mean, the sales means nothing really. So yeah, knowing you're making money basically, and also being able to analyze the deals. That's the most important thing. When you see a deal, you need to be able to analyze it on Amazon and see what the price is. You put your cost of good in there, you see the sale price, knowing that there's money to be made in there, your profit margin, but then also looking at the price history to see what the price was in the past. So that's a very important thing for those two things. After that, I'd say get a repricer. That's really important as well because you'd be surprised how much more money it's going to make you. You have to reprice manually, but also it's going to make you more money by like putting the price over the buy box, which you'd be surprised. I mean, I've lost so much money in the past by not having a good reprice. So I'm not going to be honest. It's crazy. So yeah, one of the things I actually learned is even though I've sold items for a profit and I thought, oh, I made a great success of that. Actually, turns out I could have sold them for way more money. So I've actually, even though I made £50 on one item, I could have actually sold it for 100. So I made £100 profit on it. So I've actually left £50 on the table. So it's hard sometimes to learn from those successes because you're like, oh, I did really well on that, but I did not as well as I could have. And then from a point of view of like more admin, I guess, not non-software, prep center is really important. And then get an admin VA, I guess, as well. Basically, you want to take all the tasks that are low skill and pass them on to someone else. And you keep doing the higher skill stuff, like the sourcing, the overall management of your business. Those are the things you should be focusing on.
Mhm.
And the reason you should learn to do it yourself is because once you know how to do it, you can then write it out, the exact task, what they need to do, and then pass it on to someone else. So a VA, for example. So yeah, that's what I'd advise.
No, that's really good advice. Do you still have virtual assistants that work for you now?
Yeah, I've got one VA right now, but I need to. I had three in the past, and I let them go because I was doing bad in Amazon for a little while, a few months. When I say bad, I was still making like 4,000 a month, but
Yeah.
then I was paying out like 2,000 in prep fees. I was paying 1,000 out in VAs. So I was like, I'm paying up most of my money to employees. And with that one, the mistake I made there is I tried to grow too quickly beyond what I was doing. I shouldn't have. I got all these people hired in anticipation of growth but I
Mhm.
actually hadn't had the growth yet. So that was the mistake I made. And while I was still making money, it was kind of discouraging to give out most of my money to other people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I got what was the question again? Sorry, that
I
one.
mean, I was going to ask, I was just asking if you still had a virtual
Oh
assistant.
yeah, I do. Yeah, so I've got one right now, and I need to get another admin VA. But I've got a sourcing VA I share with someone else, and that's another good way as well. You can share your VAs with other people. I need to get an admin VA again now because there's tasks that just do my head in with VAT and stuff like that. So yeah.
So when it comes to sharing like VAs and such, like how exactly does that work? Like, is it a case of you pay half their wage, the other person pays half their wage? Like, how does that sharing process work?
Yeah, so the way we do it is each of us just pays a month, basically. So I paid the first month and someone else pays the second month. There's four of us sharing the one VA. So yeah, that's how we do that. And then we just all jump on a call every day with a VA to help train them and teach them and stuff like that. Pick a specific category or website to source. But yeah, we just pay on a monthly basis, basically. We just take it in turns.
And
So
when you were like first getting like virtual assistants and stuff, and I guess I mean this is relevant to when you're looking for them now, like how exactly do you go about finding a virtual assistant? And when you do get applicants, what are some things that like I assume you have an interview process for them as well. So what sort of things would you say are key to find out about that person in order to know that they are going to be suitable for you and your business?
Sure, yeah. So I actually use a company that does VA hires VAs for you. I don't know if I should mention them here or not, but there are companies out there that will hire them on. You can get them from onlinejobs.ph, which most of the VAs are from the Philippines.
Mhm.
And this company basically they did the vetting process for you. They did a bit of training for them as well, and then they introduced them to you, and then from there you can decide if they're a good fit for you. So they did a lot of the tasks, I guess, in making sure they're suitable. However, the training that they did was extremely basic. And basically, I think to get a good VA, you need to basically sit with them every day for an hour or so and teach them. It takes about 3 months for them to become profitable. So it's a lot of work. And if you can't source yourself, and this is something people ask me all the time, should I get a VA? I'm like, can you source? If they say no, then I'm like, don't get a VA because they're not going to solve all your problems. Get an admin VA maybe, but not a sourcing VA. Because if you can't teach them, then you basically both going to be lost. You'll just be losing money. So yeah, it's but yeah, I used a company basically to get them, so I can't really give much advice on actually hiring one directly. So unfortunately,
No
so
worries. Um, Something else that I wanted to ask. So this is like diverting just a little bit from Amazon, and I find this like really interesting as well. It's like you could have literally just been an Amazon seller, and that's it. Like you have your successes and stuff, and that's all for you. But
yeah,
obviously, you're in all of this social media as well. So you do YouTube videos. You have a Discord group,
yeah.
and then you're on TikTok as well, aren't you?
I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Yeah, I've got a free Discord group. Yeah,
So what made you sort of like get into all of this stuff?
so, firstly, I like helping people. So that's the first thing. So I'm happy to help people get into Amazon because it's a way for people to kind of change their lives without sounding too corny there. But like you can make a lot of money on Amazon. I know the opportunity is out there for people to make serious amounts of money. I mean, last month I did like 11,500 profit, but there are guys out there that make me look like a peasant that making 20, 30,000 a month. So the opportunity is there, and I see it as an opportunity for people to get in and maybe ditch their maybe boring job or they want to change a scene or whatever and run their own business. And there's nothing better, I think, than doing FBA for starting your own business. So I just want to help people basically. But there's also a side as well. I'm looking to monetize it as well. So I'm being fully transparent. I do monetize it through certain methods, but for me, it's all about giving the information out for free. And if people get value from it, then I get, kickbacks from like affiliates and stuff like that. So it's a two-handed thing basically. And it's just, for me, it's building up another income stream as well. But it's just helping people. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've got like the proper setup and all. Like, I love these kind of that they've just been changing the entire time. I love that.
yeah,
Uh,
I've got some nano leaves up there. Yeah.
you've got like the
Yeah.
proper, I don't know, like studio, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, no, I mean, I love the fact that you do all this stuff as well as all of your Amazon selling. Like I enjoy your YouTube videos and such. And so anyone that like wanted to like, join your Discord group, like what's that all about? Like have you got like different chat rooms for different things? Like do you do any like teaching? Like what's that all about?
Yeah, so if first it's just free, it's never going to be paid for. There are no leads in there. It's not really designed for that. It's just a place for people to come and ask me questions and hang out. Right now we've got about 200 members, so I'm hoping to build that up. But yeah, people who want to get into Amazon or have got a specific question can just ask me. I'm happy to answer questions. Right now, while the community is small, you've got me kind of more of a captive audience. You can ask me every question you ask is going to get answered basically. As it gets bigger, that's probably less likely, but hopefully other people will then chime in and help.
Yeah.
It's just basically just to help people and they can bounce ideas off each other, bounce questions off each other, but mainly just to ask me questions. And then if people really want to get me for like a one-on-one, they can do that. They can pay for an hour. But I don't really do that much coaching really. But if people want to do that, it's fine. But yeah, I answer 99.9% of questions. Just don't ask me what I sell or what categories I sell. Beyond that, I pretty much answer everything. So, because I'm a big believer that Amazon, there's enough space for everyone on Amazon. Is a huge opportunity. Just think how big Amazon is.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of these people that thinks I need to hoard all the information.
Mhm.
Thing is just, and also when you give, you get back as well. So but yeah, it's just So there'll be a link, I'm sure, in the description and stuff for this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a free community. I'm trying to build up the best and the biggest UK community. I suppose other people can come from the country as well if they want. But obviously my experience is from the UK. So I do something to Europe actually, to be fair as well. But yeah, so Yeah.
Speaking of opportunity, do you have any any like goals, whether they be like small goals or like big goals for like I know like this year, like in the next however many years? Like, do you have anything like that? Like, do you have like a little, I don't know, sort of like timeline with like milestones on it where I want to be here by, I don't know, this time next year, something like that. Do you have any goals?
Sure, yeah. So my goal for this year was to make 100,000 on Amazon. I should smash that because I'm already on like 45, 50K, something like that. And obviously we've still got Q4 to come.
Yeah.
So that was my sort of short-term goal. Long-term goal is to become a millionaire from Amazon and other businesses as well. So, I've got a big plan on how to do that. But yeah, and that involves obviously doing FBA, maybe getting into private label wholesale more, um, doing some software as well, maybe building up the social media side of things as well. But yeah, that's kind of my overall goal, I suppose. And the reason I like Amazon FBA is because it's a great entry level business. You don't have to find customers, which is pretty much the hardest part of any business, really. Customers are already on Amazon, so you just need to find the products and sell them. But anyone who runs a business and tries to do everything from scratch, like build the product and then sell it and find the customers and then customer support, things like that, is very difficult. Whereas you have half the business already covered by Amazon for you. So that's why it's a great entry level business. You can make some really good money on there, and then you can use that money to then filter it into other businesses, whether it's going deeper into FBA through wholesale or private label, or whether it's pivoting off into something else like property or whatever business you want to do. So yeah, that's why I'm a huge fan of FBA. But yeah, my goals are to use the FBA
Get
money
rich.
to put it into other businesses. Yeah, basically. So yeah, absolutely. And I don't see why I can't do it. I know people that make 300 grand a year doing Amazon FBA. Guys doing it 4 years. Used to work in an Asda warehouse. Now makes 300 grand a year. Crazy, eh? So
I mean, there's other rewards to reap as well. So, like, I mean,
sure.
it's your own thing. Like you can go away. And if I mean, provided that you have got things in place, like softwares, VAs, and stuff, like your business can essentially like run itself,
Yeah.
in essence. So, like, have you had that much whereby you've gone away and you know that it's all good because things are essentially like running themselves, like things like that. Like, I know just these nice little perks to
Sure.
that's relatively unique to this kind of space, this kind of like digital income. Uh,
Yeah. So, I mean, be honest, I made a mistake with doing Amazon. I tried to do it all myself and didn't put good systems in place. I did have VAs and I obviously got rid of them. Now I'm want to hire them back. So right now the business does run with me, basically. I kind of need to be in it. But I'm now trying to get out of that. Like I used to have shelving in here with all stock and stuff, and now going full on prep center.
yeah,
I'm going to hire some VAs to do my admin and sourcing and stuff like that, eventually purchasing as well. So trying to pass off all those tasks onto other people. So then my goal is to travel for about 9 months of the year, where I want to go, basically Australia and places like that. So, and obviously to do that, I need to have all their systems in place. So, but as you say, FBA is fantastic. It's great. It's got loads of upsides. I guess the downside is you can fall into the trap like me, or where you basically make it a job and you
yeah,
have to work it yourself. And even though I've got a limited company and everything, essentially I run it like a sole trader right now, where I run it all. The other downside as well is you can't sell the business. So once you kind of retire, it's not a sellable business. So there's upsides and downsides. There's loads of upsides, but just keep that in mind.
yeah.
But yeah, so don't make the mistake I did, or just transition like I am. You start off with turning it into a job, and then eventually you turn it into a business. If that makes sense.
Mhm. No, it makes perfect sense. Um, and so my I guess my next question is I want to divert a little bit more away from Amazon and find out a bit more about you. So when you aren't doing Amazon, when you aren't doing all the social media stuff, what do you like to get up to?
Sure. God, I mean, I'll be honest, the past 2 years, my entire life has been revolving around Amazon. So I'm one of those people that when I get my teeth into something, I dive into it deeply.
Yeah,
But outside of Amazon, I just like hanging out with friends, going down to the pub, going out for meals. I like to play Xbox every now and then, although they've cut that down massively.
yeah,
Because every time I'm playing on Xbox now, I'm thinking I could be making money on business. So I'll be honest, I am terrible when it comes to work-life balance. I'm also trying to do two or three businesses at once as well. So I've got the Amazon FBA thing going on. I've got social media as well. I've got some software that I write for myself. So I have a terrible work-life balance. But yeah, generally hang out with friends and family, bit of Xbox here and there. I need to get back to the gym. Terrible at that. But yeah, I used to play tennis a lot actually. I need to get back into that. But yeah, so yeah, don't emulate me too much, guys. But at the same time, I really want this business to succeed. And if you want it to succeed, then you have to put a lot of work and effort in, I suppose.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's your baby in essence.
pretty
Like,
much
gotta look
exactly.
after
Yeah.
it. So, yeah, no, it makes
So
perfect sense. What kind of stuff do you play on Xbox?
I've literally been playing the same game for about 6 years now, and it's called Destiny. That's the only
Right.
game we play. I do play a game called Gloomhaven every now and then. It's like a
Yeah.
tabletop sort of game. I do sort of board gaming with my friends, so they'll come around every couple of months. They'll come around. We'll do board gaming like Gloomhaven, Arkham Horror, things like that. So yeah, but I'm a geek basically. I've always been a
Yes.
geek, so
Yeah.
which certainly helps this business, I guess, a little bit. So
Yeah.
um,
I'm completely the same wavelength as you. Like, board games are great. I don't know why
yeah,
people like. I know there's a bit of a thing. I guess it's because we are where we are. Like, in the world, it's
yeah.
not board games. It's all about, what's on the iPad or, what's on the TV. But, board games are just ace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They are.
I like to call myself a Scrabble master, but
Okay, cool.
not quite there yet. Yeah, but I would say I would say I have a game of that near enough every week,
Oh, it's
nearly.
cool. It's good to get away from the computer, I guess, and stuff, and the
It is.
TV, and
Yeah.
do something physical. Like I like Lego as well, building Lego, but so many Lego sets and stuff. I also sell Lego as well, which is
Yeah.
great. So, but I also buy the Lego. So you can't see it, but I've got a load of Lego up there. I just built the Lego Titanic, which is enormous. I don't know where to put that.
Yeah.
All that kind of fun stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
just a general geek, really. But you don't have to be a geek to do Amazon. I know guys that like to go out, and I like sitting in front of the computer and doing it that way. But I know guys that spend all day doing retail arbitrage and going out and about because their old jobs used to be quite physical. So it's for anyone and everyone, really. There's ways to do it for everyone. So
I like that
um,
you do Lego. It's, proof that
yeah,
you are never too old to do Lego. I mean, I've got
exactly.
bits and pieces knocking around as well. So,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
great toy for everyone, adults and kids. It's good to get away from the computer every now and then, isn't it, and do something like that. I think where it uses imagination or just takes your mind off work or whatever it is. So yeah, big fan of it. And you can sell it and make lots of profit as well. So,
Yeah. I
so.
mean, even if it's not on Amazon, like, I don't know if you've got anything like that you're aware of or anything like that near you. But where I am, there's a shop that popped up, I think, about a year ago, and they will buy and sell secondhand Lego. And they've got
Okay, yeah,
all manner of sets that I either have never seen before or not seen for years. And it's just like, wow. And then like you can literally just say, oh, hey, look, I've got this, and they'll like give you a quote, and then if you agree to it,
it's
make some money.
crazy. Yeah, I used to buy Lego on Facebook. Buy used Lego, and then that was actually kind of like a treasure hunt actually, because sometimes you never knew what you're going to get. You got a
Yeah,
big box of Lego, and it was 20 years old, and you just didn't know what you're going to find in there. It was kind of fun
yeah,
actually. But I used to do that for about a year or so when I was working, just to go and buy Lego and stuff like that from people on Facebook, and
yeah,
yeah, sell it on. It was good fun. So yeah, I've liked Lego all my life basically. So ever since a kid.
yeah,
So and it's not going to go away. It's a toy that's lasted for years and years and years, and probably carry on for years as well. So, but yeah,
yeah. No, that's no, yeah, it's really great. I mean, what's the point of being, grown up if you can't sort of like go back to those things every now and then?
exactly.
you
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. Don't let people judge you on whatever. Like when we were all younger, geeks were seen as like maybe I don't know the weirdos or whatever. But now geeks rule the world.
yes, yeah,
So just be yourself basically and do what you want. And yeah, yeah, everyone's different, aren't they? So
exactly.
um,
Awesome.
yeah,
So, I mean, uh, a massive thank you to you for having come on and done this interview with me. Like, I really appreciate it.
no
Really
problem.
happy to have had you on. And before we go away, for anyone that's watching and is interested in following you and your journey, where are some of the places that they can do that?
Sure. So it's at FBAmogul, and that's the same on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. I think I can't. Remember. I don't know. Yeah, all the social medias basically. I'm on there for at FBAmogul. I was lucky enough to get that for all of them. So and I've got a free Discord group as well, which I'm sure we'll put a link in description as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you can contact me on any of those basically. You can find me on those. So, but YouTube's the main one. That's where I do most of my content. So yeah, check out my YouTube channel.
Perfect. So thank you very much for that.
Awesome.
And yeah, I will link that all in the description below.
Perfect.
But yeah, I 100% vouch for Simon's channels. Like, I love his videos. You're gonna love his videos. So 100% those things are going in the description. So go ahead and give him a follow. But
Thanks
Bob,
very much.
wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, once again, a massive thank you
No
for
problem. It
doing
was a
this.
pleasure to be here.
And yeah, so obviously this is going in the Amazon Seller Journey playlist. If you want to watch some of the previous episodes, they're going to be there as well. If you prefer to listen, all of these are available via the Online Arbitrage podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I am up to date with putting them up now, so every single one should be there. And then obviously you'll find this one there as well. So if you prefer to listen, they're out there too. So thank you once again for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all soon.
Awesome. See you later, guys.